Here I am at the Wunshan Stadium. This is the home of Shanghai Shenhing, and this is managed by Gary White. He's from Southampton. Hi Gary, pleased to meet you.
Good. How was your trip? Good?
Yeah, long old trip as always, you know.
Thanks for coming.
That's all right, good.
So I'm from Southampton. Played all my youth football in Southampton, and then played for, like you say, Bognor Regis, and then I went from Bognor to Australia. Played 2 seasons in Australia, and then decided that football playing wasn't going to give me the rewards that I could live on. So I really began in earnest to become a coach. And actually have more passion in the coaching side than I did for the playing side. And then from there, just trying to fight a career, trying to find a career, because in England it's very difficult, especially if you haven't got a big playing background. So instead of sit there complaining about it, I went off and tried to find new areas where I could be successful.
You're in the 2nd division, but this is an old Chinese Super League club. Just explain it. They just got relegated and they're trying to bounce back.
Yeah, so for 6 seasons in a row they were in the Super League. They got relegated last year. I took over the team halfway through the season, and the team was not in a good situation. And we've started to come out of that now and move up the league. The plan is to get stable this year and then go back up next year to the Super League.
Would an English coach have difficulty finding work abroad?
I think there's 2 reasons for that, and the answer is yes. One is I don't think many English coaches have that in their mindset. They think everything revolves around England and stay within the UK. And those that are trying to get out of England will have these challenges of trying to find jobs being an English coach if their national team isn't doing well. The good thing is the Premier League is world known, but as an English coach, if the English national team isn't having success, it's a lot more difficult.
Gary White's here now, an English coach. English coaches aren't very famous abroad. Why did you go for an English coach?
我觉得，首先是他对足球的态度。
The first is his attitude to the football.
他非常投入，非常投入。
Really get himself in the football.
这个是我们看中他的一个主要原因。
That's why we choose him.
After a very busy morning, Gary invited me for lunch at the very fashionable Bund district of Shanghai. Well, you've had a busy morning, time for lunch. What have you been up to this morning?
So, usual week with some media commitments in terms of local media, and then we had a couple of companies, sport companies, tried to present their products, football products. And now we're going for lunch down at the Bund.
Yeah. Now, how are you finding Shanghai as a city?
It's a fantastic city. It's 28 million people, lively city, international city, and very good place to live.
The clubs treat the foreign managers and players very well. I mean, you get chauffeur driven everywhere, don't you? Have they put you up in a nice apartment?
Yeah, I mean we have a training base where all the staff and players have their own rooms, but also we have apartments that they put us up in as well.
Right, okay, and are they very comfortable?
Very comfortable.
Just tell us a little bit about the 2nd division. I mean, a lot of money's been spent during the transfer window.
Yeah, it's becoming a lot like the Championship in England because there's so much at stake in terms of getting to the Super League, in terms of money and broadcasting rights and all the good stuff that comes with being in the Premier League. So the League One, as it's called here, is becoming very competitive, and we go up against superstar players every week and big name coaches, and it's a very competitive, good league to be in.
Do you think with English coaches not getting the opportunities back home, we are seeing the Premier League dominated by foreign managers, that perhaps coaches should come out and educate themselves in countries like China?
Well, I think as a coach, you're looking for a career. And if you can't get a career in England, you have to go find one. Instead of waiting for somebody to knock on your door, you need to go and show a little bit of personal initiative and some courage, and go into some uncomfortable environments to learn your trade. And that's what I had to do. And it's probably been the best thing I ever did, because now I have a really well-rounded idea on different methodologies, different cultures, and You know, if I'm thinking about one day go back to the Premier League, it's an international league, and you're going to have to communicate with people from different countries and different religions.
Now, obviously, Sven-Goran Eriksson's in the city. Understand he's a good friend of yours.
Yeah, I was with Sven last week at AFC Elite Coaches Forum. Was able to spend some time with Sven again. I also visited him when he was at Leicester. So we caught up, and also one of my players is one of his ex-players, so we chatted about that too.
How much does it bring to Chinese football having a coach of Sven-Goran Eriksson's expertise and experience?
Well, I think it brings everything. It shows the standard of the league, that they can attract such a big name, and by bringing one big name, other names follow. You know, Pellegrini's just signed for a club in China as well, and the list goes on. In our league, we've got, you know, Cannavaro, we've got Seedorf, we've got Ferrara. So many international coaches are coming to China in both divisions.
Well, here we are at the training base. A very impressive complex, Gary. I mean, this has obviously cost millions to make. This must be a pleasure working here.
Yeah, and that's, you know, this is why this club is special, because it's focusing on development, not just trying to buy a team. This is a long-term project, and for any young player in China, this would be a club that you'd want to play at because of the facilities and because of the pathway into the first team.
Right. And I mean, how many players do you have in your first team squad, and how many in the club altogether?
We have 28 registered professional players for the first team, but there's 40 plus pros at the club, plus the youth academy.
Gary is assisted by fellow Englishmen Matt Ward and Louis Lancaster, and both of them tell me about the invaluable experience they are picking up in China. How are you finding it, Matt, out here?
Bit of a culture shock at the beginning, even though I'm originally living in Taiwan anyway. But it is so far so good, really. I mean, the league's a quality standard, quality players, great coaching staff as well, and really competitive.
The league's the most exciting part. We don't know who's going to win. It's tight at the top. There's 4 or 5 teams that can still win it, and at the bottom it's exactly the same. 4 or 5 teams can go down. The standard of football's, I think, very high, and it's a pleasure to be coaching that level.
Right. We were talking earlier about the lack of opportunities English coaches get back home. Do you think more English coaches should do what you two guys are doing and take the plunge and go abroad?
Absolutely. I mean, there is a talk of lack of opportunities, but at the same time, it's up to us coaches to get out here and put the work in ourselves as well, instead of saying that there's lack of opportunities. But for sure, I'd welcome more coaches to get bigger experience, quality experience abroad away from England.
Well, it's 8:30 at night, at the end of a long day. We met at 10:30 this morning. Are you exhausted?
No, I love it. No, it's a labour of love, like we said at the beginning. Very lucky, very fortunate to be in a position where I can do what I love to do every day.
You've obviously got a number of Chinese players here, and you were telling me about them earlier. It's very important, isn't it, to have a good rapport with your Chinese players?
Yeah, because, you know, obviously they're the majority of your squad. You know, you're only allowed to have 3 foreign players, so the majority of what you must do is with the Chinese players, because you know, some coaches can get carried away with just working with the foreign boys, but you lose the Chinese players, you lose your camp. So you know, I spend a lot of time with them and get to know them a little bit about themselves outside of football, who they are as a person rather than just as a football player, and I think they enjoy that.